Hey everyone, welcome back to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my 1,000 in singles right here. As you can see, these are actually from the Federal Reserve. They still have the plastic on them. Actually, I went through them and it was a pain getting the plastic back on them, but I did. It just makes it easier to transport. Before I get into what I found in these, I want to solve a mystery this week. Normally I talk about hints and clues and things to help you collect. Here's a little mystery. What I've got here, I'm going to push these out of the way. I've got a bunch of $100 bills, okay? Now, every one of us has handled a $100 bill. We all know about looking for fancy serial numbers. We all know about looking for star notes and stuff. These $100 bills here are nothing spectacular, with one minor exception. If you take a look at these $100 bills and you flip them over, every single one of them has some kind of mark on the back. Every single bill. This one's got, you see, that's a stamp. That's definitely a stamp on the bill. I know that's writing there, but that's a stamp. That's a stamp. Where's this one? There. That one's got a stamp. Every one of these had a stamp. Now, my creative mind always goes to somebody saying to a bank, I want $1 million in unmarked bills. So that was the first thing that I thought of when it came to seeing these unusual stamps on the bills. But I figured, no, that probably is not the case. But I did ask a couple questions, and I did get some answers. And it turns out that all of these marks, well, what's the best way to put it? The United States currency isn't just the currency of the United States. It is the most recognized currency in the world, which means you can take our currency to almost any country on the planet and they'll accept it. Now, yes, you're supposed to go to a money changer and exchange your currency for their currency, but you are going to find it very rare that someone will not accept U.S. currency. So what ends up happening? Well, actually, if I read correctly, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 75% of all of U.S. currency is outside the U.S. So U.S. currency does circulate the globe. Well, eventually, those banks from across from other countries will send some of the money back. And what they will do is they will verify that these are real bills, and they'll put their little stamp on it. So whenever you see a $100 bill that's got some kind of stamp on it, what that refers to is a bill that has come from outside the country. I mean, of course, we sent it there in the first place, or a tourist or somebody sent it there to begin with. But after it's been verified by that country to be authentic and get shipped back, it is marked that it was outside of our country. So that's what all those marks on the back of a $100 bill are, in case you were ever wondering. Me, I'm always curious whenever I see something unusual on bills. Anyway, let's get to the singles. $1,000 in singles. I went through those. We'll put that over there. Let's see what I found this week. Here we go. Okay. First one right off the bat, found a trinary, 1s, 3s, and 4s. Not in the greatest of shape, but it was the only trinary that I found. Only bill that I can call a trinary and nothing else. Found quad 5s. Found quad 3s. Found quad 7s. And found quad 9s. This is also a trinary, but quad 9s is why I pulled this one. Lots of star notes. Can't wait to check these out. Lots and lots. Here's a low number star note that somebody wrote on. Wish they wouldn't have done that. Another really low numbered star note. High hopes for that. I always get excited seeing 2 zeros because that means it's under $1 million. Another one that way as well. This is under 3.2 million, so that's got potential. And then again, the star notes could be at the end of the run, so those could also be worth when they've got higher numbers. So I will definitely have to check all those out. Lots of star notes. That's one of the things I like getting stacks from the Federal Reserve, is that you're going to get a lot of bills in decent shape. Very little writing, very little stamps. I found a birthday note. This birthday note is kind of cool because it's either March 6th, 1955, or happens to be today's date, June 3rd. Well, obviously not 1955, but June 3rd nonetheless. I am filming this on June 3rd, so I just thought it was neat that I happened to have found a birthday note that had today's date. Found some old currency, 1995. This one's in good shape. 1995, this one is not in good shape. And a 1988A. Of course, always checking to make sure it's not a web note. So that's what I found going through that stack of currency. Since I started off talking about $100 bills this week, I'm going to end with $100 bills. This is from my safety deposit box. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. This is from, we'll zoom in real tight on this one. It says the series of 1929. Okay, what makes this bill so unique is that this is one of the few bills that were issued by the Federal Reserve banks that made it as a small size note. They only did this once in the small size. You can find Federal Reserve banknotes in the large size in, I believe, 1908 and 1914. I got to double check those dates, but there was at least two prints of large size notes. This is a small size note from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Now, this is not an obsolete banknote. It's not from just a random bank that was given a national charter. It's not a national banknote. It's literally from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. The Federal Reserve Bank was the one that was guaranteeing that this was worth money. Chicago being G, so it still has the G like we're used to seeing. It happens to be a trinary, ones, zeros, and nines. So that's a bill that I always like to see. And once again, if I had my choice between this bill and one exactly like it, I'd take the trinary just because it has that much more interest. Some of the things that I like to point out is these black lines, these are actually part of the bill. Okay, I mean, when you look at it, it looks like somebody drew on it with a marker, but that's part of the bill. This particular black line right here is actually a center or a cut mark. It's not, the bill is not cut, it's just a mark that was put on the entire sheet so they could help center it. So that's kind of an interesting, it's interesting because the bill itself is still centered, and yet that line managed to make it into the print run. Another thing I found interesting about this bill was the back side. The back side of this bill, one other thing, you can see here, when I got it, the person I got it from was claiming it to be right here, uncirculated 63. That was what they've got written on it. Yet, as I zoom in, you can see the corner has got a ding. I think the other corner might be okay. That corner there's got a spot on it. So they called it uncirculated 63. If this wasn't uncirculated 63, this would be worth about $375. They had it priced at this much, and I talked them down from there. But the reason why I'm showing you the back is not for the price of the sticker, but because when you see the front, this note is starkly different than what you'd see on a small head $100 bill. Huge difference. But the back on this bill and the back on this bill are virtually the same. Okay, so why does that matter? It matters because this I can go and spend. This is a real $100 bill that, this happens to be 1977. I can go out and spend this anywhere I want. I'll probably get funny looks from millennials trying to spend something looking like this, but it's worth $100. I can take it to the bank. The bank will put it in my account, no questions asked. It is a $100 bill. This is a $100 bill, but it's considered obsolete. You can no longer spend this bill. This was a national currency bill. Once again, national currency from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Will pay the bearer on demand $100. So this bill can no longer be spent. These were all recalled. They were all called back by the bank. And if you didn't turn them in, well, you're out $100. Unless you saved it for all these years, because then your $100 is worth significantly more. So that's my Federal Reserve Bank bill. I think I've shown a 20 on here before, but that's the 100. 100's in really nice shape, and I wanted to make sure I put that on camera before I get that back in my safety deposit box. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. If you learned something new, hit that like button. If you enjoy watching these, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to tell your friends. I like putting these out there. I like sharing my info with you. If you like hearing it, let me know. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.